All right, hello everyone. My name is Felicia Rickafor, and today I'll be talking about financial management and sensitivity analysis. So, as an overview, today I'll be talking about the foundation. So, what are our goals when it comes to financial management and why specifically does it matter? We'll talk about what is sensitivity analysis, the quantitative and qualitative steps and factors to keep into consideration, how capital, budgeting, and risk tie into sensitivity analysis, what internal and external methods do we need to consider when it comes to risk, our key takeaway, and then my references. So, Dahlquist and Knight from 2022 state that the most important job that a company manager has is to maximize the value of a company. So, just increase our shareholders' wealth. Financial managers make decisions involving investment, financing, and risk to best manage cash flow, balance risk and return, and overall just promote long-term business growth. So because future sales, cost, and things like interest rates and other factors may change, managers need to make the best decisions despite this uncertainty. And this is exactly where business tools like sensitivity analysis come into play to help them understand how these changes can affect a project. So, Carlberg described sensitivity analysis as displaying the magnitude of changes in outcomes in response to changes in assumptions. So, essentially, this analysis examines the what ifs, the scenarios that helps managers understand potential risk and make informed decisions. So, for example, if we have expected sales of $500,000, well, what's going to happen if sales are 20% lower? Or what happens if sales are 15% higher? Essentially, how sensitive is our project to changes in valid assumptions? Quantitative analysis uses numbers and financial calculations to determine how changes in assumptions affect measures in things like the profitability, cash flow, or NPV. So, if we look at our example here, a business is considering opening a new restaurant. Variables can include things like sales and revenue, the cost of food and labor, rent, utilities, or any initial investments. On the other hand, we have our qualitative steps of sensitivity analysis, where basically sensitivity analysis isn't only just about plugging numbers into a formula. We need to also consider qualitative factors. So, looking at our example, we have factors that need to get considered, like what do our neighborhood or what do our surrounding neighborhoods look like? Are they growing? Are there any other competing restaurants nearby? Are customer demands going to change? Does our management team have enough quality experience to be running this type of business? Just things like that need to be looked at. Irons 2019 states that capital budgeting decision methods are tools firms use to plan how they are going to invest money and grow their business. So, businesses will use capital budgeting when deciding whether or not to invest in things like new products or technology, expansion. And the important thing to remember is that the challenge is that future cash flow just is not guaranteed. And so, this is where sensitivity analysis is useful, as it can be incorporated into capital budgeting by changing important assumptions and viewing how these changes may affect the project's NPV or net present value or internal rate of return and payback period. So, when it comes to assessing risk, there are both internal and external methods that can be used. So, internal methods rely primarily on information that's populated within the organization. So, for example, they can look at historical data with sales that can be used to estimate future cash flow. On the other hand, we have external methods which look outside of the company and can examine things like industry growth, surrounding competitors, or customer trends before deciding whether or not a project is really worth following through with. And it's important to remember that by combining both of these internal and external factors or methods, financial managers can better develop an understanding of the risk they can better understand the risk that's being associated with a particular investment. So, just as an overview, financial management sets goals and makes investment decisions, which leads into sensitivity analysis, where it tests how changes in assumptions may affect results. Then we have risk assessment, which combines both quantitative and qualitative and external and internal information, which then capital budgeting determines whether or not a long term project is financially worthwhile. Um, so, sensitivity analysis helps businesses and financial managers understand how uncertainty can truly affect a decision when it comes to investment. Here are my references, and thank you for watching.